Hey y'all, it is Wednesday, so we are going to reflect on our week. As always, I talk about my wellness journey on Wednesdays, and then I'm with you again on Saturdays to talk about a wellness topic. So I'm always going to be honest with you about my journey. I feel like some people, when they choose a healthier path or they've lost a significant amount of weight or they're talking about their wellness journey, they're really always trying to be very positive, very upbeat, as if they never slip, as if they never make a mistake, as if, it's somehow turned into like a really easy journey for them. They're like, oh, I feel so much better because I exercise. And so now I exercise every day, as if that's not sometimes a struggle. I'm not that person. I struggle. I absolutely struggle. The difference now is that I refuse to quit and I refuse to give up because I know that I can just pick it back up and start again and just clean the slate and keep going, keep moving forward instead of falling all the way backwards and then really feeling like I'm starting over from scratch. So this week, sleep played a really important role in my journey, or lack of sleep, I should say. I had Friday off and I had Monday off, so it was a nice long weekend with my family. I really enjoyed that. School started here on Tuesday. And so for me, it was making sure that I spent time with my kids, but then we also watched movies. I was up late, and then I love to sleep in. I do not like to get up in the morning. Anyone who knows me knows me. I'm not a morning person. So I was sleeping in. So I was really throwing off my sleep schedule. And when I do that, I tend to make poor food choices. Um, it's what happens to me. I always thought it was that I was just lazy. I'd be like, oh, I get up and I'm so lazy and I don't want to make anything, do anything. But for me, I think it's that lack of planning, lack of organization, and just not knowing what I want it to do. And so then I wouldn't do anything, or I would just grab the quickest option, or I would just wait and wait and wait and then be so hungry, then I would make poor choices. But then I also started eating more sugar than I normally would eat. And so, I think we went for blizzards like 3 times the last week. And then on Saturday, I went to my sister-in-law's and we were watching a movie, and I sent my brother to the store and he came back with a big bag of peanut M&Ms and a bag of like the sour watermelons. So of course I was like shoving those in my face, and just poor choices. So I wasn't fueling my body the way that I needed to. I wasn't getting the sleep the way that you normally would. And those two combined can lead to disaster for me because the sugar itself doesn't make me feel good. My body wasn't fueled the way that it needed to be, and so it wasn't functioning and it wasn't feeling good. And then that on top of not sleeping well or not sleeping the way that I normally would just made it even worse. And when I look back, I know Saturday I talked about how poor my run felt on Friday. That, I believe, is part of it. I wasn't fueling my body the way I needed to maintain the activity that I like to do. And because I wasn't fueling my body properly and I wasn't sleeping and resting my body properly, it just led to poor choices. So for me, the thing that I have learned is that if this was me 4 years ago, 1 week slipping would lead to two, would lead to a month, would lead to I've gained 65 pounds and I'm completely starting over because I had quit everything, telling myself that I didn't care, telling myself that it didn't matter that I was gaining weight, telling myself that it's fine. But then I would get to a point where I would feel so horrible. Nothing would fit. I would feel disgusting. I would feel unhealthy. And then I would be completely starting over again from scratch. That is no longer my journey. I slip, I slide, I make mistakes, but I don't have to start over from scratch because I do these, like, look back on my week. I do this reflection so that I can pick it up whenever I need to and say, I know what's causing it and I need to make changes. So that is one thing that you have to look for. What is the vulnerability factor? What made you vulnerable that made you choose the choices you made, that made the behaviors that you were doing your choice? So for me, it was being tired, it was being off my schedule. And from there, eating the sugar made my body want more sugar. So those were my vulnerability factors. So I know for me this week, I need to get back on my sleep pattern, which I've already started, and I need to avoid the sugar, purposely avoid it. So if I'm craving a Blizzard, if I want those watermelons, if I want the peanut M&Ms, this week I just have to tell myself, no, you're not having that. If you're actually hungry, go eat something else that doesn't have sugar in it. Stay away from the dairy, because I really was. By the weekend, I was noticing it. Like my face was really puffy. I could feel it in my body. My body wasn't working the way that I want it to. My digestion was off, you know. You want to talk about bowel movements? Yeah, there was none of that going on, right? Because I wasn't fueling my body the way I need it to. So that is what I'd like you to do this week. Look back, reflect on your week. What were your vulnerability factors? Were you tired? Were you stressed? Were you angry? Were you know, what mood was going on there and what made you vulnerable? Were you out of sorts? Was your routine off? You know, your kids going back to school. Maybe you had children going off to university and all of a sudden you're not driving them back to school the first day. You're not having to make that lunch. You know, so there's parents like me who are like, oh, I hate making school lunches. And then I'm sure there's so many parents out there right now going, I wish I had a school lunch to make, but my kid's at university and he doesn't need me to make his lunch today. So that's a vulnerability factor. Did that impact your choices? Did it impact your behavior? Did you make poor food choices? Did you eat things that maybe didn't make you feel good? Did it affect your sleep? Did it affect your activity? And then because you reflected on that, you can make the necessary changes starting right now. I don't care what you had for breakfast or lunch. I don't care if you ate a chocolate bar, if you downed a pop, if you then ate a bag of chips and you haven't walked in a year, you can start right now. The next thing you could put in your mouth can be healthy. Make that choice right now. You can move for 5 minutes right now, or this evening, or tomorrow morning, whatever it is, but start right now. Make that choice that you are back on your healthy journey and that you can turn it around. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm reflecting. I got on the scale this morning. I was up a couple pounds. I know I don't feel good. I know that I need to get to bed earlier this week, get back into my bedtime hygiene. I will make better food choices. My activity will feel better, which will make me want to do more of it. And I'll be back on track. So that's what I'd like for you to do as well. Reflect on your week, find out where you're vulnerable, what changes do you want to make to your behavior this week, and move forward, because we are all fabulous on our journey. I'll see you real soon in the next video.